Hello and welcome to Super Great Kids Stories, wise tales from storytellers around the world, which will make you laugh and sometimes cry. Recommended for ages 5 to 105. I'm Kim and I love stories. The story this week is The Belly Button Monster, told by Dominic Kelly. Hello, Super Great Kids, and how are you? I hope you're having a happy week. Maybe you're learning a new story or song. Now, my reason to be cheerful right now is that I'm going to be telling stories online with my lovely friend Kate Corkery next month. It'll be on Saturday, April the 12th, and we'll both be telling some of our favourites. You can find more details about that on our website and Facebook page. And my second reason to be cheerful is that we've got a new storyteller to introduce you to, Dominic Kelly, who's from the beautiful Lake District in the north of England. Dominic is going to tell us a funny monster story from the US. Now, just before we hear Dominic's story, I wonder if you can try to imagine a monster of your own. It might have wings, like a Chinese dragon, or tusks, like the Japanese oni, or flaming red hair and green eyes, like the whistling giants. It might be a sad monster, or a hungry monster, or a mean monster. Oh, and it will need a name. Why don't you have a go at inventing your own monster while we have a quick word with the grown-ups? Ready? Off you go. Hello, Super Great Kids, I'm back. What's your monster like? Have you given it a name? Maybe you could draw a picture of it and send it to us so we can share it with other story fans and post it on our Facebook page. Send any of those pictures via our website at supergreatkidsstories.com and we can share them with everyone on our Facebook page, facebook.com/supergreatkidsstories. Now, it's time to meet a storyteller new to Super Great Kids Stories. His name is Dominic Kelly and he grew up amongst the mountains of the Lake District in the north of England. When he's not telling stories, Dominic still thinks that sitting in a tiny tent on top of a mountain in really bad weather counts as fun. Yeah, I think I'd go along with that so long as I had a hot water bottle to keep me warm in the tent. So, are you sitting comfortably? Am I sitting comfortably? Then let's give a very warm welcome to Dominic Kelly.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dominic and I'm talking to you from the rainy hills of the north of England. And I've got a story for you about a boy just your age, called Jimmy. And the thing is, Jimmy had a problem. Every night when he went to bed and he pulled the covers up and he started to drift off to sleep, he could not keep his covers on. He'd go to bed, he'd pull the covers up, he'd close his eyes, and he'd start to drift off to sleep, and swoosh, there would be his covers on the carpet every single night. Well, there was this one night. It was winter, it was cold, and to be honest, Jimmy hadn't been very well. Now, I don't know if any of you have had a bug in the recent past. I know I have. Well, Jimmy had. And that night, he went to bed, and he pulled the covers up, and he closed his eyes, and he started to drift off to sleep. And you know what happened? There were his covers on the carpet, and his mother came in and she said, "Oh, Jimmy, it's winter, it's cold, you've been ill, you've got to keep your covers on." Maybe, thought Jimmy, if I hold on to them really tight, they'll stay on. So he lay down in bed, He pulled the covers up, he held onto them really tight, and he closed his eyes and he started to drift off to sleep. And you know what happened? There they were on the carpet. And his mother came in again. "Jimmy," she said, "it's winter, it's cold, and you've been ill. You've got to keep your covers on." Maybe, thought Jimmy, if I lie really still in bed, the covers will stay on. So he lay down in bed, ever so still. Under the covers, he closed his eyes, he started to drift off to sleep. And you know what happened? There were his covers on the carpet again. And his mother came in one last time. "Jimmy," she said, "it's winter, it's cold, and you've been ill. You've got to keep your covers on." And you know what, Jimmy? If you don't, the belly button monster might come in the middle of the night and take away your belly button. "Oh, don't be silly, Mum," said Jimmy. "There's no such thing as a belly button monster." "Well, of course there is," she said. And she went out. Well, Jimmy lay down in bed. He lay absolutely still, and he held onto the covers really tight, and he closed his eyes, and he started to drift off to sleep. And you know what happened? There were his covers on the carpet, and Jimmy fell fast asleep. But in the middle of the night, outside the window, there was a humming sound, and in through the window flew the belly button monster with his belly button bag over his shoulder. And he thought that Jimmy's belly button was such a lovely belly button. He put out a finger and thumb, and whoop, up it came, and he put it in his belly button bag, and out he flew. Well, when Jimmy woke up in the morning, he didn't know anything had happened. So he went downstairs and he poured himself a big glass of milk and he drank it down. And you know what happened? All the milk came pouring out of the hole where his belly button should have been, all down his pyjamas and onto his slippers. What? My belly button's gone. Wait, what am I going to do? Well, I'm covered in milk, he thought. I'll have to have a wash. So he asked his mother to run him a bath. And he lay down in the lovely warm water. But you know what happened? All the water started to go into the hole where his belly button had been. And his belly got larger and larger and larger. And he had to squeeze it back in, and all the water came shooting out. I can't have a drink and I can't have a wash. I've got to get my belly button back, thought Jimmy. Maybe if I lie back in bed and everything's really quiet, maybe the belly button monster will come back. So that's what he did. He lay back in bed, everything was quiet, and after a while, outside the window, there was a humming noise, and in through the window flew, yes, the belly button monster with his belly button bag over his shoulder. And as he flew past Jimmy's bed, Jimmy sat up. "Oi," he said, "give me back my belly button." But the belly button monster's ears were full of wax. He didn't hear anything. He carried on flying. "Oi," said Jimmy, "give me back my belly button." It made no difference. The belly button monster just carried on flying. I'm going to have to shout really loud, thought Jimmy. Do you think that you could help him? Well, look, if you can, this is what you have to say. "Give me back my belly button." So, Jimmy, he opened his mouth and he filled his lungs, and 1, 2, 3, "Give me back my belly button." "Who was that?" said the belly button monster. "That," said Jimmy, "was me. You've got my belly button. I want it back where it belongs." "It's my favourite belly button," said the belly button monster. "Can't I keep it?" What a cheek," said Jimmy. "No, you can't. Give it back at once." So the belly button monster, he looked in his belly button bag and he found Jimmy's belly button and he sent it flying down, and it landed right on Jimmy's ear. I don't want my belly button on my ear, said Jimmy. Why not, said the belly button monster. Oh, it looks ever so nice on your ear. I don't care, said Jimmy. I want it back where it belongs. So up it came again, and for a second time the belly button monster sent it flying down, and this time it landed right on the end of Jimmy's nose. I don't want my belly button on the end of my nose, said Jimmy. Why not, said the belly button monster. You'll be famous. You'll be the only person in the world with a belly button on the end of their nose. I don't care, said Jimmy. I want it back where it belongs. And so, third time lucky. Up it came, down it flew, and this time, at last, it landed back where it belonged. You're a very troublesome little boy, said the belly button monster. I don't think I'm ever coming back. And out he flew, and he's never been seen since.
Thanks very much, Dominic, for sharing that fun story. And well done, Jimmy, for banishing the belly button monster. Now, here's my question. What would you do if a monster kept coming into your room at night and bothering you? Would you run and tell your grown-ups? Would you throw your pillow at it? Or would you tell it to go away? Or would you get your dog or cat or even goldfish to chase it away? If you liked that story, Dominic is going to be sharing stories with us live in the Lake District at the Stealing Thunder Midsummer Festival from the 20th to the 22nd of June. Check our website for more details. Maybe see you there. And now, it's time to dip deep into my bag of happies and fly around the world with Story Owl to say hello to some new owlets who've hopped into our nest and joined our storytelling club. A special hello to Shoria in Seattle in the US. He listens to the stories on the way to skiing with his dad. Skiing and stories, what a lovely combination. And across to London now to say hello to 6-year-old Adam in Islington. Adam's favourite is the Whistling Giants, aka How the Mosquito Became. That's the first traditional story I remember hearing, Adam, a long time ago at a storytelling festival in St. Louis in the US. And hello to Harriet from Southampton, also here in the UK, who became an owlet for her 5th birthday. Harriet's favourite story is The Ghost of the Bloody Finger, and she listens in the car on the way to family gymnastic classes. That sounds fun, Harriet. And back across to the US now to greet 5-year-old Cora in Baltimore in Maryland, who listens every night before bed. She especially likes Baba Yaga and Nancy stories and The Hairy Toe. And over to Cork in Ireland to greet James, who's 7, and his 4-year-old sister Fia. They love listening in the car and at bedtime. Fia's favourite is The Rainbird, and James' favourite is The Ghost of the Bloody Finger. And heading east now to Vietnam. Let's greet Livia, who is 6 and lives in the capital, Hanoi. She listens every evening at bedtime and whenever she's feeling sleepy. Lucky you living in beautiful Vietnam. I hope to visit there before too long. And across to Fresno, California next to greet Owlet Ben, who is 5 and turns 6 in a couple of weeks. Ben's favourite stories are The Rainbird from South Africa and The Ghost of the Bloody Finger. Ben listens every night before bed and on car journeys. And let's say hello now to Jigme, who is 8, and his sister, Keeper, who is 6. Like many other listeners, they love, you've guessed it, The Ghost of the Bloody Finger, and they also really love Little Half Chick, Medio Pollito, and Misery. Their family is from Tibet, and they live in Massachusetts in the US. I hope you enjoyed your new year. Down to Mandeville, Louisiana in the southern US to greet owlets Joseph, who is 8, and Evie, who is 6. Joseph loves the Norwegian story Butterball, and Evie loves the Velvet Ribbon and, of course, Baba Yaga stories. Hurrah! And over to the north of the UK now to Aberdeenshire in Scotland to greet owlets Nettle, who's 8, and Thorin, who's 6, and Willow, who's 4. Nettle's favourite story is the Native American tale How the Mosquito Became, and Thorin's is The Dancing Birch Tree, and Willow's is the funny story from Norway, Troll Ale. And up to Laramie in Wyoming in the US to say hello to Summer, who is 6, and Winter, who is 3. They both like listening to Super Great Kids stories in the car. Summer likes Gulbahar, the Iranian version of Rapunzel, and the Magic Tinderbox, and scary stories like The Men in Marble. Winter recently had a tiger-themed birthday party, and Toop's story, The Tiger's Whisker, came out the very day before her party. Such serendipity, Winter. What a nice coincidence. Toop must have somehow known. If you like tigers, you might enjoy listening to the story Ted the Tiger Tamer. That's it for our Owlet Hellos this week. Thanks to everyone for sending your pictures to post on our Facebook page and Instagram gallery. Our Pick of the Week picture goes to Fiona from Colorado in the US for her drawing of Anansi and the Hot Pepper Soup. We loved Anansi's long tongue, which looks as if he has flames coming out of his mouth as he slurps the hot soup. And we also like the way his legs swing down from the chair. And the way you put the catchy song, The King Likes the Soup, the Queen Likes the Soup, in a speech bubble. Thank you for sharing it, Fiona. It's super great. If you want to see those pictures, go to facebook.com/supergreatkidsstories. And if you follow us on Instagram, go to our picture gallery at supergreatkids_art. And finally, a big thank you to all Super Great Owlets and their families who are supporting our podcast and making it possible for us to find new storytellers. If you'd like to support us on Patreon or on Apple Podcasts, we'll say hello to you on the show. You can hear our stories advert-free, and you'll have access to over 50 Owlet bonus stories and over 30 super great scary stories. Plus, you'll get access to our Super Great Kids Stories Express, with short introductions, no adverts, purely story, great for listening to stories back to back. And did you know that you can now gift a Patreon membership for the Owlets Club? Visit our website for more details, supergreatkidsstories.com. That's it for now. Keep telling your stories and singing those songs. And remember to check out our online show with Kate Corkery in April. Next week's story is from the Greek island of Kassos. It's about a magic turtle and a greedy king. This podcast was produced at Wardour Studios in fabulous Fitzrovia in London.